Hi everyone, and welcome to English for You. I'm Pat.
And I'm Mike.
So today we're looking at kind of the problems that plastic containers cause in the world, some new alternatives, and a lot of it's around how often we might eat out or order food. How often do you eat out versus cooking at home?
Oh, probably 60 to 70% cooking at home, 30 to 40% eating out.
Right. I used to be close to that ratio. Now it's like we seldom eat out, but we never cook at home. Because
where do you get your food?
Well, a lot of it is either picked up or it's delivered.
Okay.
Because, baby, it's difficult to try and cook a proper meal when you've got to keep an eye on a baby. It's getting easier, but it's not the easiest thing in the world. Is the amount of time you have to spend cooking, eating, and washing up. And eating out, again, not always easy to take the baby out there. He's good. But you need the right kind of restaurant.
Absolutely.
To, somewhere with a bit of space that doesn't mind a bit of loud baby screaming if he happens to be in that kind of mood. So I've found the last 6 months or so I've been eating at home a lot more, but it's often been kind of takeout stuff, or thankfully Food Panda and Uber Eats got really big and popular, and so I can get pretty much whatever I want.
Absolutely.
However, that does lead to problems with food, and that kind of link between delivery services and all the waste it produces is the focus of the first day of our article. Let's check it out.
Reading.
Is it the end of the road for plastic takeout containers? You're sitting at home with friends and you're hungry. A few years ago, you probably would have gone out. But the ease provided by apps like Uber Eats and Food Panda have made the stay-at-home option much more likely. The problem is that it also adds more plastic to the environment. Although there's no evidence that delivery services add to global pollution, many people see a connection. The number of plastic containers going into garbage landfills has tripled since 1980, even though regular waste has decreased significantly. This situation will get worse as the food app business is expected to nearly triple over the next 15 years. This is a global problem. In countries like India, 26,000 tons of plastic are used every day. Restaurants even get bad reviews if they don't use spill-free plastic containers. Taiwan now largely uses paper containers. However, many of these are coated in a plastic substance that is difficult to dispose of. So what can be done? Recycling isn't the answer. Only 9% of plastic actually gets recycled globally. Never has it been so important to find ways to replace plastic.
So the article says, you're sitting at home with friends and you're hungry.
Okay, classic situation. Maybe your friends have come over to watch something on TV or whatever, but then you start to get hungry. Now, it says a few years ago, you probably would have gone out. Absolutely.
Sure.
Going out to get food is a pretty simple thing to do in many places, and here in Taiwan, it's one of the simplest things to do, one of the simplest countries in which to go out and find food near your home. The food's quite cheap but good, and you can get it almost any time of day. 4:30 in the morning. 7-Eleven's still open. But you can get even hot cooked food in Taiwan almost any time, almost anywhere. But things have changed a little bit in the last just 2, 3, 4 years.
That's right. We see in the article, but the ease provided by apps like Uber Eats and Food Panda have made the stay-at-home option much more likely. Now, before we get into the vocabulary word in the sentence, it's app. It's not APP. Like, please, students out there, don't say APP, say app. That's how native speakers say it.
No.
Say app.
Please. It's not the American political police?
There should be that.
I don't know what that is.
There should be that.
It's application.
Yeah, so app, not APP. Anyway, the vocabulary word we're going to look at from that sentence is option. An option is a choice. It's one of several things available that you can do or have or be and so on. We're talking about options for dinner. We could go here, we could go here, we could go here, we could cook. That's 4 different options right away.
Absolutely. Yeah, getting food delivered with these apps is much easier. I remember before the apps, it was basically pizza.
Yeah.
Was about the only thing.
A lot of restaurants did it.
KFC, McDonald's might have done it. But,
I think if you could speak good Chinese, you could call a lot of restaurants.
But you had to call there individually and
phone them up
and certainly the selection was much less than you would get if you just went outside your house. But now you can get almost anything through these apps, get it delivered. But the problem is that food delivery apps and the increased number of people who get food delivered, the problem is that it also adds more plastic to the environment. Of course, you're not eating from the bowls in the restaurant that they'll take back and wash. They're bringing the dish to you. They're not going to wait until you finish the food to bring back the dishes, so they give you plastic dishes that you can throw away afterwards. Very convenient, but really bad for the environment, mainly because of this plastic that the materials, the packaging and dishes are made from. Plastic is a noun. It's an artificial material. It's made generally from petroleum products, from some kind of oil-based material. The wonderful thing about plastic is it's cheap, it's light, it's strong. You can make it in almost any shape that you can imagine, and it's great for lots of good reasons, but for one main reason, it's not good for the environment. It doesn't break down. It sits in the ground for hundreds of years. For that main reason, people are sort of turning against it a little bit. But plastic, you have to admit, is very cheap and convenient. For example, many restaurants have stopped giving out straws made of plastic. Lots of things are made from plastic. Your shoes, your cell phone,
bits of my watch,
bits of cars, bits of your watch, your computer, your television, so many things in your home. And without it, a lot of things would be heavier and more expensive and break more easily.
Now, people are starting, as Mike said, to turn against plastic. They're saying we've got to stop using it so much. And we're kind of connecting this to delivery services in this sentence. Although there's no evidence that delivery services add to global pollution, many people see a connection. Now, the reason there's maybe no evidence is just because nobody's actually studied and got all the numbers and the data. Now, evidence is a useful word here. Evidence is facts or information that leads people to a conclusion, to believe that something is true or possible. Evidence is something people can see and they go, okay, this is the evidence. It's a bit different from proof, because evidence could lead you one way or another, whereas proof is pretty definitive, like this is it, here's the proof. Evidence is just facts.
All right, so this is the kind of thing we would see the police looking for at a crime scene, right? If they find a hair, it could be from the criminal, or it could just be, say, hair from the dog that walked by.
Right.
But it is something that we can look at and find more information from. So yes, these food apps like Food Panda, they are wonderful and they're in the business of delivery. Now, delivery is a noun, as we're using it here, basically to mean the bringing of something from A to B. This is probably done by a company or a business as a service to you. We might pay extra for delivery if you order or buy something big from a store and you can't bring it home yourself because you maybe don't have a car. You could pay for delivery. If you don't want to go out and get the food, you can use these companies or apps or call that local pizza restaurant and they will also probably provide delivery. They will take the thing that you need, you want, the thing that you paid for from A, the store, the place where it's made, to B, wherever you are, for example, and that's part of the service that they provide to the customers. For example, I'm sorry, the company doesn't offer delivery on Sundays or other holidays. So, like any other business service, they might not be working on holidays or on the weekend.
So another thing we need to look at from that last sentence is the phrasal verb add to. If you add to something, you increase the amount of something that's already there. And that's the key to this phrasal verb. You don't just put something there. There already has to be something and you add more. So you add to it. So we're saying there's no evidence that delivery services add to global pollution, but people are kind of going, well, there's got to be something going on because of the amount of plastic, the extra plastic that's going in and out. And we got some more facts on that here.
Yeah, it says the number of plastic containers going into garbage landfills has tripled since 1980. Wow, that's a big increase. Even though regular waste has decreased significantly. So
interesting.
Yeah, that is interesting. Since 1980, so for about the past 40 years, the number of plastic that's ended up in the garbage has gone up, but the number of garbage in general has gone down. So plastic, it shows, is making up a bigger part or bigger pie piece of that total amount of garbage. So that's a little bit worrying because plastic is one of the worst types of garbage. Throwing away paper is not good, but paper will break down in the environment. Plastic will not. So these plastic delivery containers can literally sit there. I heard 500 years.
Whoa.
So go back to the time of Henry VIII. If he threw away plastic, it would still be in the ground now. That is a long time and not good for dear Mother Earth. Let's talk about this word container. Yeah, plastic containers are what delivery companies bring the food in. A container, this is a general word. It's a noun, and it basically is a general word for something that holds other stuff. All right, containers come in all shapes and sizes. Think of container as we might use the word luggage or clothing or something like that. Luggage could be a small bag, a big suitcase. Clothing could be a jacket, a hat, a pair of shorts. It comes in all shapes and sizes. Containers could be jars, cans, bottles, boxes for things. Those are all containers. Their main job is just to have a big space, probably something you can close with a lid, and you put other stuff inside the space. Wait a minute, I hear you shouting, isn't luggage a container? It's the container for your clothes when you travel. Well, yeah, it is kind of, but that's why we might have a special word, luggage. But a container is something you would have around the house to put things in. A lot in the kitchen, right? Kitchens are often full of containers. You have bottles for liquids, jars for other things, stuff like that. For example, Clyde puts his loose change in a small container on his desk. Maybe it's a little jar, maybe it's a little bowl, something like that, but it just holds all those small coins that he doesn't use.
Now, we said that a lot of these plastic containers end up in landfills. This is a single word, landfill, all one word, and it's a place where garbage is taken and dumped, and it's either on top of the ground or under the ground. And the idea is that the trash is isolated from the environment. It doesn't get into the ground, get into the water, get into the air. I'm not sure if that always works that well, but the idea is there's some kind of like either a layer of concrete or something like that. So all it is trash. It's not just trash thrown on the ground. It's a special area just for containing trash that we just can't get rid of.
There you go. You know those garbage trucks that come around pretty much every day? Dee-doo-dee-doo-dee-doo-dee-doo-doo. At the end of the day, when they're all full, they drive off to the landfill, probably on the outer edge of the city somewhere, and that's where they dump all the garbage. And of course, the less garbage we put in there, the better it is for the environment. We were talking about how the amount of plastic being thrown away has tripled in about 40 years. To triple, this is a verb, it's to times by 3. All right, so if I triple the number of 3, I'm asking you to do 3 times 3. So 9 is a triple of 3. All right, we can say double is times 2. Triple is times 3. We could get into quadruple, which would be times 4. But if it's any higher than that, we would say times 7 or 7 times, 11 times, something like that. But for the smaller numbers, 2, double, 3, triple.
Okay, now we're saying that there is regular garbage as well.
Yes.
So non-plastic stuff, maybe kitchen leftovers, paper, bits of metal,
Tissue
whatever.
papers, whatever.
Exactly, and we're saying that this kind of trash has actually decreased.
Yeah.
We're calling it regular trash. It's just normal trash. Regular means normal, ordinary, kind of everyday stuff. Nothing particularly special or different or unusual about it. Here's an example sentence. It was a regular day. I got up, went to school, and then came home to do my homework.
And we also had this adverb significantly, all right? If something is done significantly, or if it is significantly different, that means it's enough to notice, all right? It's different enough to get your attention. If something is significant, it's important, it's meaningful. It's not something that you should probably just, ignore, I don't care about that. So if something is done significantly, it's done in a way that's more or special or a higher amount, a greater amount, and certainly an amount or in a way that will catch your attention because it is big enough to notice. For example, wow, it's significantly colder today than it was yesterday. If yesterday it was 20 degrees and today it's 19 degrees, well, that's a small 1 degree change. But if it was 20 degrees yesterday and today it's 9 degrees, wow, that's 11 degrees. That's a big change. That's a significant change. It's significantly colder. So less garbage in the landfills, this is good. More plastic in that garbage, this is not so good. And here's the worrying thing. Remember, Food Panda, Uber Eats, they've really only been around for 5 years or so, and they're getting more and more popular in more and more places. So this doesn't look so good for the future.
No, we see in the article this situation will get worse, so more plastic, as the food app business is expected to nearly triple, that word again, over the next 15 years.
Wow.
So 3 times as many people will be using these services. They'll be getting plastic stuff to throw away.
So that means we could be 9 times the amount of plastic that was thrown away in the 80s. This is a global problem, right? Uber Eats, Food Panda, they started in the States. I'm sure they have them in most of Europe. Now they're moving to Asia. And yeah, pretty soon they'll be in India, they'll be in China, they'll be in Africa, they'll be everywhere, and people like it because it's convenient. People in Africa and South America, they don't want to go out to get food either. They would love to be able to use an app, and they will. In countries like India, we read 26,000 tons of plastic are used every day.
That is a lot.
Every day. 365 times 2. That's a big number.
Yeah, it's a big number.
It's a real big number.
Right, and the problem is kind of an attitude towards the kind of food and what it comes in. We see that restaurants even get bad reviews if they don't use spill-free plastic containers. So if you don't get the right box, you say, well, I'm not going to go there again. I won't get their food. When the food came, it was spilling out. I want a nice tight plastic box.
We put the French fries in a paper container because it's better for the environment. But then I got grease all over my clothes from the paper.
Right.
People will be unhappy. And a lot of these businesses, they live and die based on what people write about on social media, what people think on social media about those restaurants. People write reviews. And as I mentioned, bad reviews for a restaurant, even if it's because the packaging, the plastic leaked, that could kill the restaurant off fairly quickly. What is a review? This is a noun. Basically, it's when you probably write, you could say your review, but usually we write reviews, and you basically give your opinion on something you've tried out in order to help other people decide if they want to try it too. If you're reviewing something, you've definitely done it before. Hopefully you have some knowledge of what you're reviewing so you can give good advice and educated advice. But with the internet, you go to a restaurant, you like it, you can give it 5 stars and say, I went here, try the apple pie, it's delicious. That would be a good review. I went there, I found a bug in my soup. That would be a bad review, all right? So people give reviews because they want to give their opinion. hopefully to help others decide. For example, have you read the reviews of the new Transformers movie?
A lot of explosions?
A lot of explosions.
Oh, there we go.
Yeah.
So that's India, but we see things are different here. The article says Taiwan now largely uses paper containers, which is true. I've used them, but they do have plastic lids.
Yeah, they do have plastic lids. And it says, however, many of these are coated in a plastic substance that is difficult to dispose of. Think of those bowls of noodles or your lunchbox container. Yeah, it's made of paper, but there's that sort of plastic stuff on the outside that stops the liquid from,
it's waterproof. Same with coffee cups. They look paper, but they've got that little bit of plastic
and it's
in.
not the kind of paper that can be recycled easily or at all. So generally it's disposed of, right? It might be made of something environmentally friendly like paper, but people still throw it away. To dispose of something is to get rid of something, to throw it away. Could be garbage, or it could be something like a broken television that you're not going to use. You'll dispose of it, you'll get rid of it.
So this part of the article says, what can be done?
So what can be done? What's the answer to this problem? Well, it says recycling isn't the answer, right? We can't recycle our way out of this problem. Only 9% of plastic actually gets recycled globally. A lot of plastic is too hard. If it's colored, I think it's hard to recycle. So there's a lot of different types of plastic out there that you can't really recycle.
Yeah, the article says, never has it been so important to find ways to replace plastic.
Really?
So in that last sentence, we used an inverted sentence. An inverted sentence emphasizes a particular idea. So we could say, it's never been so important to find ways to reduce plastic. This sentence is fine. But by using an inverted sentence, putting the negative adverb at the front, we emphasize the never. We emphasize the negative aspect and the fact that it's really important. We could also use other adverbs like rarely or seldom or not or something like that. Not until I got there did I know. It's emphasizing the negative. The whole purpose is to get the listener or reader to pay attention to the adverbs and what they mean in the sentence. So that's the end of the first day of the article. We'll look at some solutions in day 2, but now it's time for the For You Chat question.
For You Chat.
So we got 2 questions here. Do you think Taiwan uses too much plastic for takeout foods? And what do you think happens when you put your plastic on the recycling truck?
Oh, okay. Good questions. Now, the first one, I'd have to say that I haven't had takeout in other countries a lot recently, but I think Taiwan's not bad. A lot of things, I'm thinking like, French fries or fried food, they put them in paper bags here.
Yeah.
And in some other countries, I think maybe the customers wouldn't like that.
True.
But for people here, that's normal.
Yeah,
so that's a good thing, I'd
Uber
say.
Eats or Food Panda stuff, it often comes in, it's a brown paper bag.
Okay.
Maybe there is a bit of plastic inside, but at least the bag's not plastic,
paper.
so that's cutting down a bit. So I think Taiwan is not actually doing too badly.
Right.
What happens when you put the plastic on the recycling truck? To be honest here, I don't really think about it. I just kind of hope it's taken away. I've kind of understood that it's a bit of a trick and not as much stuff is recycled as we would like to think it is recycled. But if the alternative is just throwing it away, right now, until somebody comes up with better recycling, I don't know what the average guy can do except try to use less. Or reuse it.
But you're right, there is a lot of that plastic that we put in recycling, which just because of the nature of plastic, because they don't have the technology to recycle. So it would be good to kind of know, because for example, I just learned recently that a lot of the colored plastic, like those nice blue bottles, they can't recycle that. And that made me stop buying it. And now I look for, the water in the clear bottles if I'm buying that.
Okay.
Fizzy water.
Sure. Well, that's the end of the first day of the article. Join us again in part 2 tomorrow for some hope. We'll see you then. Bye for now.
Take care.
Is it the end of the road for plastic takeout containers? You're sitting at home with friends and you're hungry. A few years ago, you probably would have gone out. But the ease provided by apps like Uber Eats and Foodpanda have made the stay-at-home option much more likely. The problem is that it also adds more plastic to the environment. Although there's no evidence that delivery services add to global pollution, many people see a connection. The number of plastic containers going into garbage landfills has tripled since 1980, even though regular waste has decreased significantly. This situation will get worse as the food app business is expected to nearly triple over the next 15 years. This is a global problem. In countries like India, 26,000 tons of plastic are used every day. Restaurants even get bad reviews if they don't use spill-free plastic containers. Taiwan now largely uses paper containers. However, many of these are coated in a plastic substance that is difficult to dispose of. So what can be done? Recycling isn't the answer. Only 9% of plastic actually gets recycled globally. Never has it been so important to find ways to replace plastic.
Vocabulary Review.
Plastic. David dropped the plate, but it didn't break because it was made of plastic. Delivery. Jenny ordered some products online, and the delivery is expected to take 2 days. Container. The cake will stay fresh in the fridge for 1 week if it's kept in an airtight container. Regular. Paul enjoyed chatting with his friends in the coffee shop. Just another regular Sunday afternoon for them. Significantly. The number of people who voted in the last election rose significantly and affected the result. Review. Jennifer was unhappy with the store's service, so she went online and wrote a bad review.
智慧小补帖
Option. Evidence. Landfill. Triple. Dispose of somebody or something.
以上节目是由活用空中美语制作。活用空中美语杂志，请洽询全国各大书店。如欲索取试听教材，请来电02-2364-4000 02-2364-4000，或上网查询，网址是 www.english4u.net www.english4u.net